What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another album review, and today I am talking about the debut solo offering from Simone Simons with Vermillion. This also came out on August 23rd, this time on Nuclear Blast Records, and like I said, this is the debut solo album from the legendary frontwoman of a.k.a. Simone Simons, who I will flat out admit, not only one of the most beautiful women in metal history, but one of the best female vocalists I have ever heard. Like, she kind of finds this nice balance between, like, maybe somewhat of pop singing, but mostly classical singing. Like, she finds that perfect middle ground to really convey some great vocals. So yeah, this is her solo debut, and this is largely a collaboration between her and the legendary Arjen Anthony Lucassen from Ayreon. And yeah, because these two have collaborated many times over the years, especially with Ayreon. And, well, this is their big collaboration for Simone's solo project that she's doing on the side when she's not doing a.k.a. Now, admittedly, I was thinking, are we going to hear just basically another a.k.a. album? Well, yes and no. We kick things off with Eterna, which immediately you get like these electronic sounding keyboards, which Arjen is actually the principal songwriter on this entire album when it came down to the instrumentals, while Simone provided the vocals and wrote lyrics. But this song, yeah, it starts off with these nearly almost like 80s electronic keyboards, but also kind of sounds like something you would hear from bands like Dream Theater or Symphony X, bands along those lines, because this album does have touches of prog to it. And then it comes in with this soaring melody with a violin on top, and the riffs on here rather moody, and then you do get some like huge doomy riffs, but with classical progressions. You do get more like up-tempo sections, especially with the keyboards, before you, out of nowhere, get a chugging breakdown. Like, chug is kind of a thing that does get peppered in a lot on this album. And then In Love We Rust, which actually I thought that was a pretty clever song title, it's a little more mysterious. Simone's vocals feel a little more sullen, and the song itself is more classically driven, but you do get in like the chorus some like slow doomy riffs, and it actually kind of reminded me a little bit of early Catatonia, like Dance of December Souls era Catatonia, with like the riff, the atmosphere, and the melody behind the riff. And even then the drum sound, it kind of made me think of Dance of December Souls, especially that snare whenever it's hit. And then, of course, whenever leads do pop up on this album, which pop up a little bit here and there on this album, Arjen does a hell of a job when it comes to leads. More about building up atmosphere and a mood rather than being shreddy. Apart from, I would say, tracks like Weight of My World and The Core, those songs is definitely where you would hear Arjen shred his ass off on the guitars. And then Cradle to the Grave, which actually featured guest vocals from Alyssa White-Glues from Arch Enemy. Yeah, this song has more keyboards on top, but there's some like chunky riffs and, dare I say, triplet chugs. And Alyssa does come in swinging when it comes to the growls. Like, I will never complain about her vocals, whether it's melodic or guttural. She has a hell of a voice in her own right, too. I just only wish that maybe Alyssa was singing melodic along with Simone, but they do have similar melodic vocal approaches, so it's kind of hard to tell if Alyssa was actually doing any melodic vocals, but you can definitely hear her growl her fucking guts out. And then into the track Fight or Flight, you get more like dark, clean riffs, and it's definitely one of the more prog-oriented songs. Like, it's lavish, it's moody, somber strings and melodies, and of course Simone showcasing her operatic approach, and she can hang with the best of them when it comes to like operatic vocals, like Tarja Turunen. I think Simone can hang with Tarja quite a bit when it comes down to the operatic vocals. Weight of My World, as I brought up earlier, this one definitely gets a little bit heavier. Like, the riffs are a little heavier. There's even some like dare I say, classic metal riffs, because it does get a little more up-tempo, but it does groove and chug pretty nicely. And then the title track, Vermilion Dreams, this one was very keyboard heavy. Like, it was very much like synth oriented with the keyboards. Not a lot of guitars come up really at all until the very end, when you do get some more doomy riffs to bring it all to a close. The core, back to a little more heaviness, like chunkier guitars, triplet swings and gallops, groove, and even some growls. And I don't know, it doesn't say on any page I looked at who's doing the growling vocals. If it was Simone doing it, she might want to give more of that a shot, because if that was her doing the growls, then she might have a future in growling vocals, perhaps. But then she does get back to her operatic range. Dystopia, yes, more keyboards, but you do get some like chuggy, doomy groove. Even the lead on this track's a little more sullen, and even a triplet swing. And then RED, Red Equals Danger, I'd say that's what it's supposed to be, which features Mark Jansen from Epica, who's the guitarist and the growler of Epica. This song focuses more on like lumbering grooves and showcasing Mark's growling vocals, though the lead on this track, very strange. Probably my least favorite solo on the entire album. But then you get to one of my personal favorites on the album, Dark Night of the Soul. Basically a big violin piano piece, but it's a very, very beautiful song. And Simone doing her best like sullen vocals, and I think they definitely fit the mood of this song. As far as complaints go, I will admit there are times where the drum production, like the production itself, feels very uneven. It's like it's, at times it sounds overproduced, but then there are times where it sounds underproduced. Like overproduced would be whenever there's just a lot of synths and keyboards going on here, where it's like I feel like it does kind of suffocate everything else that's going on within the songs. And then, of course, when it came down to the drums, like, especially in the opening track, Eterna, there's at one point where the drums sound like electronic drums, and they were not the best sounding electronic drums, if that were the case. But the drum production itself, like, it you can tell it kind of sits in between, like, 80s electronic drums and, like, that first Catatonia album style snare. It just kind of fits right in the middle, and at times it sounds like it's electronic, but then there are times where it sounds organic. It's just really uneven. I don't know what happened. And then, of course, while I like the guitar tone, there will be times, like especially in Cradle to the Grave, where the lead just gets buried under everything else. So it's like uneven mix, uneven production. The songs weren't bad. Like, for the most part, the songs were pretty solid on here. It's just the production kind of killed this album for me. So overall, I am going to give this one a 3 out of 5. I think for what it is, it's a decent, solid foundation for future solo albums for Simone Simons, but yeah, the production just needs a lot of work done. And that's all I got to say about that. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you for watching. Keep your horns high and your dreams wet.
Thank you for your patronage.